Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Occult Think Tank. My name is Greg. In this program, I am going to be talking about things that are upcoming or coming soon. As you guys know, I used to do internet radio, and I do want to get back to doing that because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a hell of a lot. And it is something that I would be interested in pursuing again, and I have a stream that I had gotten, and I had noticed after I got it that there's a bit of a, if you want to say, a downfall with it. That being, it can only have 1,000 listeners. So that is one that I would not want to have as the main stream for what would be the Occult Network, because I would want to have a much larger audience than just 1,000 people. But I am thinking that for here and now, that could work for my Patreon, of that stream being specifically dedicated to the Patreon. And that would mean that there would be content for that, for the Patreon, that wouldn't be on the other stream. And it would just be, I don't know at this point if it would be more blooper type. There could be some of that, because no doubt, especially when I do the audio recordings, yeah, there are bloopers. If you guys would want that, that would be something I would consider including over on Patreon. But I'm also looking at, what would it take? Do I have to have a backdrop behind me in order for my body to be cut out correctly and not have the camera screwing up like you see with this? I know part of it is I'm a blonde and my hair is very light, so I guess it's difficult for the camera or whatnot to cut out around my head, be that as it may. I'm not particularly tech savvy, so I don't exactly know what I'm doing wrong as far as a backdrop. If I would need to have like a green screen, I would definitely look at having that. But for the most part, the Occult Network, it'll be more podcast type, not being on camera. That a lot of the interviews that I do will be, all of the interviews I do will be through my Skype. The phone number that I've shown on the screen before, and I can again, I just didn't load it in this time. But that would be something that somebody can call that from a mobile phone or a home phone or another Skype. I mean, if a person would be on Skype, they could find me, and it would be a matter of being able to just call someone else on Skype, and there it wouldn't cost anything for you. It would just be a matter of having the person, it would be a Skype to Skype call. And that type of thing, because for shows, I do feel it would be more entertaining and so forth, a conversation. Because otherwise, it's just my shit. And while I do think I'm interesting, there would come a point, like it had with Flagship Radio, that my numbers were good as far as listeners, but my business partner had said that the big problem we were running into was basically people got tired of just hearing one person. Because for most of that radio station, I was carrying it. That we would have people that would say they would want to do internet radio, but then when I would talk to them, I would hear they want to do weekends or whatnot. And I had said, unless you are an established name like Stone Cold Steve Austin or Chris Jericho or somebody that is an established name that has fans based on a reputation and so forth and a name that they have built up elsewhere, then you can't just have a weekend program. It's not going to fly. Because if you're a big nobody, you're going to be bringing a big nobody listening. So if you want to have basically a celebrity type of schedule, you have to be a celebrity. That's just the way it is. And the issue I had was a lot of people that they would say they want to do internet radio and so forth, but when it comes down to how much they were willing to do, then it became one of, well, I don't know, 1 or 2 days. With an internet radio station, I can't do that. Because I would be dealing with 24-hour programming and having to have everything, enough coverage to cover all of that. And going that route of internet radio, I would be looking at having music as well, because I had like the Metal Meltdown, as well as bringing in, I don't know if I would do it with the Occult Network, the Good and Kinky aspect, because that brings in a sexual element that I don't know if that would really work with the occult theme and the occult nature. You guys can let me know in the comment section if basically that would conflict. But it would be something that if I would do that again, I would want to have a host and co-host that would be more comedy based and more adult, to even doing the like interviews that I did with Sika and so forth, on and doing more like porn star interviews and people of that nature, doing interviews with celebrities, porn stars, whatnot, things that are more adult in that. Whereas like with the occult think tank, I would be sticking to more of the paranormal to occult type of theme and type of guest. But it is something that I am looking at, and as that would grow, I would want to have, because with that, I would want to have advertisers not going by the aspect of looking at like listener supported type of thing. I'm not opposed to a listener supported, but what I would really, my preference would be to have advertisers. And I know for that you need to have numbers as far as audience, because that's what they would look at and so forth. The revenue that is being generated from your particular program. So in that, there would be that. But it's something that I'm looking at starting internet radio again and the Occult Network. And I don't go into an interview with the idea of burying somebody or being a prick. I can be, if they want to go that route, but it's not my initial intent. Like, the one guy that I'm going to be, at least tentatively, right now, interviewing, who is he's from Britain, and he's a hypnotherapist. There was one I had asked him, he had said about one of the titles a lot of hypnotherapists, therapists, so forth, was mind coach. I had asked him, what exactly is a mind coach? I I don't know what that means. So it's not a matter of trying to be confrontational. It is just, I don't know. I don't understand what you mean by this. And it would be something, if I would use that term as an introduction to him, I would want that to be explained, what this is, what this deals with. Because I would be going by the presumption that since I'm looking at this term and being, what the fuck is that? That many in my audience would also be looking at it as, what the fuck is that? One of, okay, that's a title, but it means nothing to me. So if you want to use that, then you have to define what that means. And that is something that I look at and I don't like vague terms and things that people don't understand what you're talking about. But that's an interview that hopefully I'll be able to line up. And I don't know how much we'll get into with hypnosis and so forth, because I sure as hell am not going to be having somebody doing anything that can hypnotize people on a podcast or even a video. No, because now I would want to talk about like the aspect of, are there techniques that are done with television commercials and so forth that can hypnotize somebody? And if so, kind of, I would want him to explain to me, okay, what are the telltales of somebody that is trying to use hypnosis in a commercial? Because that would raise major red flags for me regarding not just that product, but whatever company would be behind using hypnotism techniques in the promotion and pushing of their product. That, because I was talking to my girlfriend earlier tonight about the aspect of drug commercials being on television. She doesn't agree with it either. That things that have to be prescribed by a doctor, why are you advertising that to general people? Why do you have things like that on television? Because I don't agree with going through the attitude of you going to a doctor and saying, doctor, I want this drug. No, the doctor should be the one telling you based on your medical history and the symptoms and so forth that you're telling them. They're the professional. They should be saying, I recommend this or that drug. Not you going in and saying, doc, I want you to give me a prescription for this drug. Because it just seems like they're marketing it to the wrong group. That this should be stuff that doctors should know about. Not necessarily things that you and I should. Because I don't agree with people being able to go on Wikipedia and so forth or whatnot online to self-diagnose. Because a lot of times what you'll have with that is you'll have hypochondriacs. People looking at it, oh, I have this symptom, the aspect of, do you have a runny nose and so forth? And being, oh my word, and just giving themselves pretty much cancer, and the doctor having to explain to them, no, you don't have cancer, no, you're fine, you don't have any of these issues. But then the doctor has to do therapy type of work to convince this person that no, you don't have, yes, I realize you saw it on the internet, but that doesn't mean you have it. I don't agree with people going to a doctor and saying, doc, I want this drug. Because if you're going to go that route, legalize all drugs, and if you're into marijuana, doc, I want a prescription for marijuana. Or if you're into cocaine or whatnot, doc, I want a prescription for, and name your freaking drug. If you're going to be advertising drugs to people on television, take the fucking gloves off. Tax them all, have it all, have money go into the taxes and national debt. Fine. Let those that want to engage in taking drugs, they can take the drugs all you want. You can commit suicide by drugs. That's up to you. I'm pro-choice in that regard. It's one, you want to take something, that's on you. My drug of choice is, if we can get it to not get cut out, this is my drug of choice. Other than that, no. But things like that, and I don't even feel that is occult type of subject matter. It's things I can talk about. I can talk about a lot of things that aren't related to the occult. But as far as that would go, that would be based on if somebody would call in and we'd go down a rabbit hole of that nature. I'm willing to scamper down any rabbit hole you want. It's just a matter of, to me, as long as the audience is interested in the conversation, I'll talk about anything you freaking want to. Lacking things that I'm really having absolutely no interest in, like sports. I don't know diddly-do about basketball, baseball, hockey. I don't know anything about those, so I wouldn't really be interested in engaging in conversations about that because I don't know anything about that. I don't watch it. Nothing against those that do. It's not my thing. Anyway, just to let you know of a little bit of what's coming, what I'm in the works of lining up, and the Patreon will have a dedicated stream going to that when I'm doing internet radio again, there will be one aspect that what is just on the Patreon. It's not there yet. I'll let you guys know when that all drops and that it's there and so forth, because my big thing with Patreon is I want to have enough content over there to justify people doing that. And that is where I'm thinking with the interviews that I'm going to be doing, maybe beyond the what is publicized interview, that I would have a post type of interview that if I talk to somebody and it's more of beyond the allotted hour for the interview, if I end up talking to them for an extra half hour, having that on the Patreon. Any bonus type of material being on the Patreon type of thing. But even that, if you would have ideas for perks or whatnot for Patreon, by all means drop that in the comment section, and it's something that will help me know what to, in a sense, give to you. Now, one of the things I had gotten, because it was something that I had seen, and I'm going to try to show you these. I have some of these, and it would be things that I would potentially be able to offer people. Let me just go to give me a second, everybody, because I need to just go back to straight up, not trying to have any cutting out of me. This was back before the election and so forth, and I really don't want to talk about politics, but for those that like Trump, this is a coin, and it's something, it is sealed. It is completely sealed. It would be something that I would have on my Patreon. I have a bunch of them. There is that one, and there is also that I do have a Trump $100 bill, a $2 bill type of thing. It would be, I'll have to figure out a way to get pictures of these that show up better. If I don't know if I can, but there's, what is it? It looks like I have 5 of the $2 bill. There is a 2020, which, in a sense, I don't even want to go into what took place with that crap. But I have probably about close to 10 of those, or looks like 4, 8, maybe 8 of them. But the $100 bill one, I have 1 of. And it would be, those would be things that I would have. Yeah, because the coin like this, I have most of. There is another in here that I have some of these. It's in a baggie, but it is a different type of coin. And those would be things that I could have and offer people as a perk or whatnot. It's something I had gotten, and those would be things that I could send out to people and so forth. That all, in a sense, that's all on the table type of thing as far as different perks that I could give. Now, I realize when it comes to Trump or whatnot, things are very divisive, and there are those that like him and there are those that don't. I mean, in that regard, it is what it is. There are people that don't like me. I mean, it is what it is. But things like that, I have thought about the different benefits and so forth that I could offer, and that would be things that would be limited type of thing, that there are this many, and once they're out, they're out. But for the things that I would only have like 1 or 2 of, I would look at doing a more of a contest type of thing. But you can feel free to drop your suggestions or whatnot in the comment section. It is something that I would keep in mind. But just to let you know, a bit of heads up on internet radio with the Occult Network is coming. But talk to you later, people.